Welcome to Bond and Build with Chris and Cappy. Welcome to episode number 5. Now, before we dive into today's topic, let's hit you with a little teaser. Have you ever wondered why so many people end up in the wrong relationship or why budgeting feels like punishment for some of us? And here is a bold one. What's really behind the Death to America messages we see in the media and politics? Well, stick around because in this episode, we're diving into the truth behind choosing the right partner, making budgeting work when you absolutely hate it, and decoding dangerous propaganda that aims to tear America down. So basically, today's topics are picking the right partner for relationship, finances, budgeting when you hate budgeting. That would be Chris. And for taboos, Death to America propaganda, because that thing is getting out of control.
Yep, it definitely is.
Thank you for tuning in for our 5th episode, which feels like episode 100. For those who follow regularly, our 3 amigos, Chris, Joanna, and Stephanie, thank you. And for the rest of you, if you've been tuning in, but we just don't know, thank you very much for pulling up with our shenanigans. And welcome to Chris's new face. Sorry, I had to. Okay, so let's diving into relationships. So today we're talking about picking the right partner. Obviously, Chris has already done that, so his life is completely set and done with. Mm-hmm. So we can just skip through the next step. Just kidding. Well, Chris, after finding the right partner, can tell you all about finding the right partner then. Mm-hmm. The best partner.
That partner is depending on how you look at it.
Okay, well, all I'm gonna say is you have made the best choice because, yeah, it was gonna work out so well with the past options, but that's just me.
It took how many years to get somewhere?
Wait! I know where this is gonna go. Chris is gonna say he molded me into the person I am today.
That's correct.
Where would I be without Chris in my life? I do not know how I made it without ever meeting Chris before.
This was never a pick for both of us from when we were, 20? And where this would have ended up. It was not a pick to say, I'm looking for that perfect soulmate for anything. It was just, is what it was.
You see, God had the better options for you, me.
I'm just saying.
You're welcome.
This topic is about picking, not that life just picked you and we just went with it.
Okay, but apparently God also believed that your previous options were not really good. So he ended up helping you.
I guess so.
So you're welcome again.
Thank you.
From God and I.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But on a serious note, picking a life partner, I think is very important because who you pick is basically is going to be the person you're not only picking to marry, but for most people, because not everybody wants children, you're going to pick the person who's going to be the mother or the father of your children, and you're going to be the person you're going to grow old with. So you're not only picking the person for today, you're picking a person for later. And yeah, if you looking long term, you might want to pick a person that fits all the boxes.
That is correct.
But when we say boxes, I don't believe in check boxes. Some girls have some stairs check boxes and they're still single, so I don't think that works. Okay, so what does the perfect, picking the right partner means to you?
I think you have to look at things as a compromise or anything else, because as you just said, picking the perfect person is not always going to be how things work out. You kind of have to hopefully find somebody who is flexible, moldable in some way. As we've discussed in the past that, I guess over time, you don't want to be the same person. So for that person you pick is somebody who can hopefully change with you, can grow and not stay stuck in whatever way that maybe you didn't like or whatever. Maybe back in the days you had to be a party animal and maybe that was fine for that time. But then, one partner is like, all right, time to chill out. Other person's still trying to, go partying. That may or may not be a good thing for relationships sometimes as well. So that's just part of, hopefully y'all can grow together. But as I said in the beginning, at the time we were young, I don't think any of us were looking for, 20 years ahead to see where we are today on this podcast or family-wise, business-wise at that time. So I think this is for more people who are ready to settle down or looking for that perfect person, hopefully more in the 25 to 30 range, I would say, might be those people ready. Some people are ready early. Who knows? I don't know. But it really depends on where you are. If you can start early, then better for you. I think at that time it was more of just dating, not necessarily marriage at the time.
I'm a Capricorn, so I always knew if a guy was going to be it or not. If it was for right now or if I could see it for longer. And I always knew what I wanted.
I guess that was me.
You checked the boxes. That worked. It wasn't necessarily by design, but yeah, it worked better than previous options. That, you may have thought you're like super into or in love with at the time because you're younger, but it was never like, nah.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's clouds things, especially when you're young. I think the Google Gaga-ness of love tends to cloud your judgment of what a good partner is. Sometimes it's more of a lust thing than that person checks the actual boxes. It's like you're so like in love with them, but not because that person is the best person either. We've seen some relationships where just like you're just sprung over this dude, but the dude is freaking douchebag. You know what I mean?
I feel like I'd be so left out. And examples. You had an example for the last show. I was supposed to ask you after, and I forgot what it was. I have to rewatch it to see what it was, to see who it was. I mean,
Fireman.
yeah. What?
The fireman.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So I think values, family backgrounds, and goals are things that should shape who you end up with. So, like, for example, if I know I want to have children, I'm not going to be with a guy who's determined that he's never going to have a family. Like, you can change someone into wanting children. And I think some people stay in relationships hoping to change people. Like, there's only so much you can change people.
Same conversation goes back to what I said. It really depends on where you are. You can't be asking a 20-year-old or something about kids. They may or may not want to answer, but it's like, that's so far ahead.
A 20-year-old guy should know whether he wants to have kids. He just probably will tell you he doesn't want it until his 30s and 40s, but eventually in his life, he wants to have kids.
Depends, again.
Like, I'm not asking you to have kids tomorrow.
People tend to have that not want of kids at certain points in their life, whether it was past relationships or issues at home, parental, traumas that they still have in their own personal lives. So meaning it really depends on where they're at. That question is only valid for a certain time. Not everyone is going to be able to answer it, is all I'm saying. Not everyone is early on or later on. So just saying that it really depends on where that person is.
I think in your 20s, you should know whether you want to have kids and a family one day or not. If you guys don't know, then you're even more behind women than I even thought.
No, I'm just saying, it really just depends on you don't always know. You might be today, yes, but I'm just saying later on, maybe you have your annoying nieces coming around. It's like, you know what? I don't fucking like kids. Annoying as fuck. You know what I mean? Or you're like, you know what? You didn't experience kids until you got to a certain point in life. Maybe your brother had a kid and it's like, you know what? I could deal with them for an hour, but past that is like, I don't want these kids anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's just different things that change. You would have to ask a lot of people what makes them decide they don't want to have kids. Because I don't think you're just born saying, I don't want to have kids just like that. I think it's something that triggers you at a certain point where it's just like, you know what, I just don't want kids. Or maybe it's a mental thing where it's just like, you want kids, but there's something in your mind and it's unrealistic. Or maybe you just got a point where you just got too old. It's like, you know what, I don't think I could have it. Or you have medical issues in the background that you're just telling yourself you don't want kids, but realistically, you probably can't, and that's just what you say to really compensate.
I guess those are some valid points. So apparently, because I'm going to read the little facts, the data shows that 64% of married people say shared values are the most important aspect of the relationship, which is true, even more than physical attraction and shared interests. Another one says that according to a 2021 report from the Institute of Family Studies, individuals who select partner based on character and aligned values report higher marital satisfaction and are more likely to stay married over time. Basically, it goes back to the same thing. Shared values and I guess character are more important than looks, which is true because sometimes you may look at people and you're like, guy does that a lot, or how did he get this girl, or, or something. And the guy may not even be that rich, but he may, like he might be a good guy, or it's just his values and his character, and vice versa. So to me, obviously, I think looks is still important. I mean, you have to be married and looked at that person, so you can't be like looking at the beast all day. I can't say I'm picky, but there has to be like, I don't know,
I think it's a
boundaries.
guy who makes you smile is what it is.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
You know it's true.
I don't know.
I think a guy who makes you laugh and smile is what can catch you versus if you don't necessarily look that great. I think it's that
So yes, charm.
Yeah.
I would look at that as a charm
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah, so I guess that would go into character.
And confidence. I think that
Oh, hell yeah.
you could be ugly, but you have that like,
Yeah.
I'm a badass dude. You know what I'm saying?
Same for a girl, vice versa. Okay, so then the strong traits of a partner. So we covered that basically character over chemistry. I think that one to a certain extent, because what I was saying, basically, yeah, you have to be able to look at the person. Sometimes Ty's friends be watching this, and time I watch the little clips, I feel like
Speak properly.
certain things, but you're gonna have sex with that person for the rest of your life. There has to be some kind of chemistry then. Like, you know what I mean? You can't be like, I'm not looking for a roommate forever. You have to have that sex appeal, that's sexual chemistry.
Or there's those people who will just settle and just take it as for now. And if there's ever a better thing come along, they'll jump to that. I mean, there's people out there like that. Not everything is a marriage. If you might consider it, life is life. You think you go with the punches for today, but if you're not an ideal person, that's not the way things should be. But there are people, look at it that way. This is not my forever type scenario that, I'm dating now, but you never know. I'm still young. Or you could be towards the end. It's like, I don't want to be alone. So it's like, you just settle with whatever it is. Maybe they check a few boxes, but, it works for now, which is, to me, that's the problem with relationship is just like, yeah, you have to be in it enough, but then that's probably why a lot of people, they search around and they become unhappy, they become miserable to a certain degree, and eventually the other person suffers because, it was enough at the time, but when you start looking at the other side of the fence, you might see, things are greener, there's more options. You've been waiting for this one person, and maybe God is testing you, whether this other person is like, all right, should I jump the fence?
But honestly, technically, everything starts with chemistry, right? Because even for women or men.
And so we're clear, we're talking about picking our partner. Is the partner always necessary marriage? Because that's two different conversations. Marriage is you're pretty much stuck. Not even necessarily stuck, but like this is kind of supposed to be the end, not like so dating to me, you can break it off for whatever reason. But when you become marriage, it should hopefully be the end scenario. You know what I mean?
Then I should specify that. Yeah, for marriage.
Since dating could be 2 years, you just want to have it's cool for now. I like it, be cool enough. We can hang out. He's fun.
Or for something serious, like a serious relationship. At least that you would hope not for like a hookup. Because then if you're going for a hookup, then you're just going based on chemistry, what they look like.
Hookups can last a long time sometimes.
Yes, they
Like
can
20
last 19 years. Yeah. Are we like the longest hookup? I wonder if there is a thing for that. Shared vision of the future. Yes. You need to be on the same page. And I think that's a problem with some people. I don't think people communicate enough. Money, goals, everything. So to me, you should all be on the same picture. I mean, on the same page. And honestly, even, well, I guess not a hookup. So we're talking long lasting relationships going into marriage, because I guess that would what it would lead to if you're in a long, not on a hookup. So if you're long lasting relationships, you should have those conversations. Do you want to have children? What does your financial goal look like? What are your life goals? Where do you see yourself? Basically, the same way you should be creating your goals. Where do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now? Because if you're not on the same page, you're with somebody who's comfortable in a 2-bedroom apartment, but you're trying to build something into a mansion and they don't even care for that lifestyle. You guys are not gonna, it's not gonna work out because you guys are not gonna be on the same page. You're clearly gonna be a little bit more materialistic, where they're just gonna be comfortable and they don't need to grow beyond that. So you guys have to know exactly how many kids you want, what's a max. Like, I think people don't have these conversations enough to be exactly on the same page.
Because maybe like you're a girl and you want like a guy that, you know what, he's still young, so he's potential, but maybe that guy is just, you know what, I'm fine being, just a plumber, versus you're hoping that that guy will maybe own the plumbing business at some point. You know what I mean? Like by the time he's 40, he start his own business, do his own thing to make more money. But maybe he's just fine at that level. Maybe that's not what you want at the end of the day, to support whatever future life goals you may have.
Yeah, so you guys have, because not everybody dreams of a mansion, that's not like a goal for everyone. Like,
And it's still bigger than a plumber for sure.
yeah, but meaning like that's not, some people are good just having a regular house, their family, and that works. Like, meaning everybody's dream looks different. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I have a yacht and stuff. That's not everyone. Some people don't care for that. So you guys want to talk about that. So that's definitely important. And then problem resilience and problem solving skills. Yeah, you definitely need to be able to communicate, have patience, and be able to grow together, because life is going to throw a lot at you and it is going to test you.
You should also question yourself. Don't always check the boxes of the dude, but check your own issues, your own problems you need to work on, because yeah, you might think you're awesome, but maybe that's why you ain't getting no guys either. It's because you have things to deal with yourself. People keep saying,
Or girls. Why do I have to keep saying that for you? Like, you have to say guys or girls, dude.
I'm just saying, you'll be looking for these things, but then maybe yourself have a lot of things you have to deal with, whatever traumas you may have, daddy issues, mommy issues that you need to fix, whatever mental things you have. Maybe that's why things are not coming to you, because, you have a lot of unresolved things to handle in your life.
Yeah, but that's more about you're already in the long-term relationship.
Yeah, but there's stuff that could be holding you back too. Maybe that.
Oh, you mean while you're in the relation? That's true, but that's because you should always be working on yourself throughout your whole life. So I guess, yeah, I see your point on that. My bad. Okay, so for the little facts part, a research published in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin shows that couples who score high on traits like concept conscientiousness, what the heck is even that?
Conscientiousness?
Yes, and emotional stability report stronger relationship satisfaction. Basically, if you're not batshit crazy. Well, I think everybody has a little batshit crazy in them.
Do they know?
I know I have a little bit batshit
Do
crazy
you?
in me. Yeah.
Hmm.
So do you. Everybody has a little batshit crazy in them.
Some more than others.
Anyway, I think that depends on who's looking at it. A 2022 study from Stanford University found that couples with a unified vision for their future, especially regarding finances and family planning, are significantly less likely to experience relationship breakdowns. Exactly what I said. When you're on the same page, you would have less issues. I feel like we have not yet accomplished all our goals. We're far from accomplish our goals yet, but we're definitely on the same page. We want the same thing. So that's always been a good thing, family wise, business wise. We have like different views and approaches on how to get to things, but the goal is the same. So I think that's important. And then the Gottman Institute's research revealed that positive communication patterns are the best predictor for long-term relationship stability and satisfaction. So communication is key. Personally, I think that's something I had to learn and work on a lot. And as you grow into a relationship and as you grow into an adult, I think you start realizing those things. Although some people never realize things, but I guess that's a part of personal growth also that you bring into the relationship. But communication is key. Like, if you can communicate with your partner, if you're walking on eggshell because maybe you're dating a Cancer, like, like you have to learn how to communicate with the person, but you have to communicate over the eggshell. Anyways, anything you want to add, honey?
No.
All right. So overcoming societal pressures and noise. I guess, yeah, big people putting you on a clock. Society gives you pressures. Yes, especially women to rush into relationships and get married by a certain age. I think now less than before, but it's still there. When are you gonna get married? When are you gonna have kids? When I'm good and ready.
Still there.
I said just not as much.
I don't know. I think that's still there.
You think the same?
Yeah. You don't think every parent you've been asking Ty about his dating too?
A 2020 report from the American Psychology Association found that individuals who enter partnerships due to external pressure rather than internal readiness are more likely to face relationship dissatisfaction. Okay, it didn't tell me on how much pressure, but it just tells you basically people are unhappy because they're pressured into going into a relationship, which makes sense because nobody's gonna happy being pressured into anything.
I think that's even the parents' fault. They're just like, I don't know. Can you really be forced into a relationship and just be stuck because of
Yeah.
somebody?
Especially, I think back into certain from last week's interracial relationships, certain religions and ethnicity will force you into something you don't want to be in. And
Yeah, but that's a whole different kind of
well, I
relationship.
guess that's a different
That's
type.
more of an arranged thing you're talking about. That's
Yeah,
not.
but even on the side of just like, even if it's not arranged, it's like understood or like settled already. Like you'll be happy. And then in some community, they don't want you to get divorced. So now you're stuck. You've outgrown a person, or you guys are not the same anymore, and you're stuck in this marriage that you hate. And you hate your life, and you can't get out of it because people pressure you. So I think, honestly, for that, the best way to fix that is you have to be comfortable with who you are and know exactly what you stand for and when you want to go.
And also that involves being strong enough then to leave or know when to break it off or to get out.
That too.
But as you said though, so in a situation where you're stuck in a relationship because of parents, as you're saying, then what are they supposed to do? Just be like, all right,
A community.
I'm my bitches.
Yeah. You have to be able to I think in those situations, you have to be able to not only walk away from the relationship, but the community, which might also mean your parents. So you have to figure out what you're ready to deal with. Are you ready to be on your own? Does this relationship really matter?
I think if you can't walk away, then you have other problems to deal with yourself. I mean, that means you have other self-esteem issues, traumas you gotta deal with because, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you need to be happy. So if you can't figure that out, then we have other problems to deal with. Because I think you have one life to live in. Either you deal with it now or you keep dragging it on and you're stuck and being miserable, as you said. That's not happiness, but I mean, sometimes people take it as maybe that's the best I can get. This is what it's going to be at.
This is what it is.
This is what it is. And that's just life sometimes. You just drag through life as, all right, part of my life sucks, but other half is, it's okay. Maybe I got kids out of it, so it's fine. I deal with it because I have, beautiful children, and it's okay.
And then the children leave, and then you're stuck in this whack relationship. The ideal partner checklist. Okay, I hate this checklist. I was hoping we'll touch on that. The checklist, we watch all these videos now with this new generation of this stupid checklist. Starting with how much your ring should be. Who cares?
The best one ever.
Like, and I think those girls are throwing numbers out of their asses, dude. Oh, my ring should be at least $1 million. I was going to say an inappropriate word. Like, are you even bringing $1 million worth of value? Like, why am I... And so we're clear, BJ's is not $1 million value.
To me, I don't care how rich you are, but I guess the problem is, what do they call these guys? The simps from my show? The guys who just throw money around for anything because they're freaking weak ass dudes. Like, I'm sorry, I don't find that there's so much to spend for money. I don't care how rich you are. Just throwing around money and $1 million, you said, or rings, that's just the dumbest investment you could freaking make ever. Especially on a wedding. Go buy it in a house. Go do some investment for a business or something, or I don't know, just a big vacation, something. Because the $1 million in a ring is what? For a little piece of rock that doesn't really hold enough of its value anyways, most of the
If you're
time.
buying $1 million ring, usually that carat would have... That rock would have value in trade.
My point is that little rock does not hold enough of the real value to me to value the relationship. Like, that should not be the one thing that says, oh yeah, baby, I love you because here's $1 million freaking ring. Like, at the end of the day, there's no price tag showing around. Like, there's no, like, it's something that could even really be lost, stolen. Like, that's on a little piece of a rock that's, if I put a fake one on it, you wouldn't even know. Like, there's...
But I guess the point to me was, are you in it just for... Like, when your checklist starts with $1 million ring, like, are you really into the guy or are you really into his wallet is my point.
Wallet?
Like, it shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't care about how much your ring is. Obviously, I don't want to have to take like a microscope to look for the thing on my ring. And if you guys want to not have something on a microscope, I would rather have like, just like a nice stone. It doesn't have to be like, like a diamond or something. Nice stone that looks pretty, as long as it's something pretty. But I'm not going to say I'm not going to marry this guy because the ring doesn't cost this much. Who cares? Like, I'm not marrying the guy for the ring. I'm marrying the guy for the marriage, for the relationship.
Because to me, you're setting a value on, oh, he doesn't love me enough. He has all this money and all he just bought with me was this $20,000 ring at Jared or something. It's like, no. It's still a nice ass ring. There's so much more you could do to show you love. Like, I don't know, I'd spend it on the wedding, something. I don't know.
And I don't think personally that's a little bit out of the subject, but since we're on ring jewelries and stuff, I don't think a guy should finance your wedding ring. Buy something like a $200 ring on Etsy or something, and then when you guys have checked all your goals together 10 years from now, on that 10-year anniversary, upgraded, and you can pay for it outright because you guys build a life together. Like, you don't need to go into, why are you making a $500 per month payment on a ring? For what? Like, it doesn't make any sense. If you can't pay the ring outright, just like, yeah, later, 10 years from now, you're supposed to be in it for the long term, right? 10 years from now, upgrade it. If you guys don't make it to 10 years, you save some money. Better for you.
That would involve having a woman who's open like that. Not everybody is like that.
Yeah, but that's what I see on those videos. It's a problem. Yeah. I am scared for my son finding a wife. Like,
Yeah,
It's
because
very hard in them streets.
you know why? Because that's social media. Social media portraying the unrealistic reality of what's actually out there, and that what percentage of actual guys are out there who can actually afford to pay $1 million. That 6'4" guy, the build, the muscles, is rich. Like that list just goes down and down and down. And are you even the kind of woman who is even gonna reach that level?
Yeah, and exactly.
Besides
If
looking
you're
hot.
looking for the few guys who can afford it, like, are you even bringing anything to the table that I even propose to you? And then, besides, are you going to be able to hold up that relationship? Is he going to be cheating on you? Like, yeah, if that's all you're looking at, like, I don't know. To me, a checklist matters, like, to have an idea, but it shouldn't be, yeah, exactly. It's a base. It shouldn't be, oh, if he doesn't check this, and there are girls and men like that, if she doesn't check this, and, and then, like, there are basics. Like, you should be able to meet the checklist that you have to, right? So if you want a funny person, are you funny? If you want a guy or a girl who goes to the gym, are you going to the gym? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't be asking of somebody else things that I saw, and I don't want to be rude, guys, but we saw this video. It's a fat girl, like she was probably living my 600-pound life, and on her checklist is a guy with like 6 packs, abs, and muscles. Yeah, he's probably meeting his girl at the gym. You might want to start going there and working on yourself to meet that guy at the gym. You know what I mean? And like sometimes you might be having like, a hormonal issue but usually you can tell it's a girl who has an extra, but she was a disaster. That girl was a disaster. She wasn't doing nothing with her life. She's looking for this guy with unrealistic checklist, and I don't know, bro.
About them listening.
No, it really doesn't. You guys are gonna be single for life. And it's not about lowering your standard, but I'm gonna need people to start coming back to reality. Not every guy on this planet is a millionaire. Not every guy on this planet is 6'4", and not every guy on this planet has a 6-pack. There are plenty of great, decent guys with potential that you can just look at. But if he's not good and ready, you guys, like Chris wasn't, like he had potential. Chris wasn't good and ready. No, you weren't ready. You gotta mold people, like you said, right? You have to grow with the person and you have to become better together. Especially if you guys are like, you're gonna get old together, so you can get better. You're not supposed to get worse together. You're supposed to get better together. So you can work on the person and with the person. So yeah, like you said, if the guy is a janitor, but he tells you one day he wants to own a business and he has dreams, and you see him after hours, he's like taking courses online, he's reading books, he's going to the gym. What's wrong with the janitor? He has a job, so he can pay his bills. If he looks hot and you have sexual chemistry, things are good in that department, and you can see he's making effort. One day he might be that millionaire. He might just own the janitorial company. So why not give him a chance or even build that life with him instead of just dismissing him because he didn't have it today?
Wow.
I think that's a problem.
You
with
want it
people.
like PK, I want it my way.
Yeah, but I don't think it works that way, people. So I'm not asking people to lower their standards. I'm just asking people to come back to planet Earth. That was just my 3 cents. Building a healthy relationship together, embrace the team mentality, foster open and honest conversation, communication, and celebrate small wins. Yeah, so basically the team mentality was exactly what we're saying. You can build that life together.
Shows what marriage should be in partnership. You both on a journey together, not one dragging you along, for the journey. You're supposed to be together. Any relationship, it should be 50-50, honestly. If you're doing 100% of the work, 100% of the bills, 100% of I gotta kiss your ass all day, 100% of, you treating me like shit. I gotta do dishes for you. I gotta do this. I gotta do that for you. Like, you have to provide some kind of a value, even if it's not money, but you have to pick up some of the pieces, even if you're the woman who, you want that guy who has checked all these boxes, what are you prepared to help him with at that end of the day? Because sex ain't it. He can get 20 other hoes if he's that hot.
You can pay very cheap these days for that.
I mean, if he's that good looking and he got the money, it ain't hard to go him to go get more hoes. That's really or pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Or go down to South Beach and go to some club and get more girls. Like, what are you doing to help support him at the end of the day?
Or her.
Or her.
You have to really practice the him or her, dude.
I guess so.
Yeah, like it has to be a team effort. But that also goes back to you guys should be on the same page because you should discuss. Are we both gonna be working? Who takes care of the kids if you're having kids? Or do I want to be a stay-at-home wife? Or do I plan on working and watching? So you guys have to know every little details and please figure that out before you get married, not after you have married and after you're married and not after you have children. Like figure it out before. Open communication. Yeah. I think you should talk about everything, anything. Like I've learned one thing, the other person can't read your mind. So if you're not saying it, they can't know. And I think women were a lot like that, like, oh my God, he didn't do this. But you're just looking at him and just hoping he could just read your mind.
She does that all the time.
No, I do that for fun, not for act.
No, you do that actually too. Yeah, you do. You come back afterwards telling me stuff, just thinking it and expecting me to just somehow read it in your head.
Okay, I don't recall none of that.
Of course not.
But we do expect, and you have to work on that because nobody reads their mind. And I think because guys are a bit more straightforward than I think girls are, you try to hold back and then one day you just blow up because you can't take it anymore. So if you communicate over time, then you don't have that blow up.
Yeah, women have that concept of, oh, I don't want that. But in reality, you want it. But the guy's supposed to know you wanted it. Is how y'all operate.
You have to give an example because this sounds very bad. It's like setting people up for
Not
rape or
saying
something.
you. I'm just not
No.
Not
I'm just
wanted.
saying like
Oh, I don't mean wanted as in like sexual. I mean like I can't give the right example, but let's say it was just, oh, I don't really want that bag. I don't need it. But in reality, you're saying you need it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't care to go out tonight, but in reality, you want to go out tonight. Like that's what I mean. Like y'all give very mixed signals, and we're supposed to really read in between the lines that there was an actual like, yes, I really wanted that thing. Yes, don't be confused. I'm not talking about you either, but I'm saying in general.
But I was gonna say no. I'm looking because I feel like guys are a little bit like that too. Mind you, yes, women do that, but guys do that a little bit.
Show me the memes where that's a woman thing and all y'all agreeing.
So strong partnerships are built on mutual respect. Okay, I'm gonna stop reading all this word. Basically, study found that mutual respect and active collaboration predicts relationship satisfaction more than initial romantic attraction. So I guess over time, but you won't find out until like you're into the relationship going into it. A 2021 study from UCLA found that couples who continuously celebrate small victories together report higher relationship happiness and resilience during tough times. Yeah, people talk about celebrating small wins, but I told you that we need to start doing that more. We don't really we're like, yeah, we're going to celebrate this when it happens, and we're like, okay, just didn't do anything. We just moved on.
It was not exciting anymore.
But that's the problem. This is why they tell you that people are like, oh, I want to be a billionaire. But once you get to that billion, it's like, okay, then what's next? Like, it wasn't what it was all cracked up to be. So that's why they tell you should enjoy the journey more than the destination. So I think people should celebrate more small wins. Communication. So back to that. Journal of Social and Personal Relationships reported that couple who prioritize open, honesty dialogue tends to see their relationship quality improve with age as they grow more attuned to each other's needs. Yes. Like communication. I think if I have to give anyone a main must in a relationship, it would be communication. What would be your one thing? One word.
Communication. Or communication, or I don't know, flexibility, understanding. I don't know. I can't really. You're putting me on the spot.
This is what this is about. You gotta stay quick, quick. All right. So the right partner isn't just someone who looks good on paper. It's about character, values, and vision that aligns with yours. So basically, don't let society pressure you. Don't try to overthink check boxes. And yeah, don't let outside noise. Like, if you know, you know, but also don't like avoid red flags because, you know, the sex might be good, but he's really a sociopath. Like, you know, like stay in it. Yeah, focus on what matters, values, emotional commitment. You can have a guy who starts from the bottom or a girl. You can build a life together. Like they don't have to start at the top. The whole point is the journey, guys. So yeah, find someone. It's the best. Find someone you can build a life with. And then you can mold each other into what, you know. You'll hear women say that a lot too. Like you've been married a long time and then they're like, oh, what if the guy cheats once? I didn't work on molding this guy to where I want him to be so that this one time hoe, you know, can come and break this up. She's like, no, 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 no. Yeah, I think it's kind of true.
Yeah, I think the key is just finding somebody who is moldable enough. Forget the perfection, forget about the list. Find somebody who is decent, you can have a good conversation with, and that is workable enough that you can see yourself with that person, hopefully changing enough to be the person you want to be. Because the thing is that somebody who's not stubborn, and maybe the best word, people are just very stuck in their ways and like, this is it. So if that guy isn't checking your box now, don't expect him to check his box because he's going to be stubborn forever. Like some people are just always stubborn, and
He or she.
he or she. I didn't say him, but
You said he's going to be stubborn.
okay, she could be stubborn too. Yes, she can be very stubborn. But yeah, just finding somebody who is flexible enough that you can hopefully work together on both improving yourselves. Because nobody's perfect themselves. Nobody ever sees their flaws all the time. So hopefully somebody that checks enough boxes that you like them enough, you can see the sex with them, you can see the looks with them as they get, you know, you're not going to be looking too far out over the fence that, you know, or you could build that fence together, the two of y'all.
I'm laughing because you said nobody is perfect except Chris. Chris thinks he's perfect.
Well, it's out there, it's out in the rest of the world. I'm already taken.
Oh, Lord. The perfect guy is already taken.
Sorry, ladies.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay, we're going to move into finance. Thank you for this. Budgeting when you hate budgeting. Mr. Perfect hates budgeting. Chris hates a budget if his life depended on it. I told Chris, even billionaires budget. Chris calls it a me problem. A budget is a me problem.
So my problem with budgeting is not the problem I have with the budget. I hate the problem with the limits you want to set on me to tell me what I can't spend when I made the money on this, whatever it is, the project, whatever it is, and it's like, no, 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 you don't have anything. You have to check what the budget allows you to spend. It's like, no, no, no. I there's like, I don't know, $50,000 here is like, oh, what? I gotta ask you to spend 1,000? No, bro.
Yes,
No.
it's called marriage and life. That's how it works. You gotta allocate the money where you gotta go. You know, there's the investment. There's a little thing called I need a roof over my head. We need to eat. Like there's a whole budget behind the scene. You wouldn't know because you don't deal with the budget.
Money makes money.
And people don't call you.
My money makes the money.
So budgets are highly necessary. So that was Chris's point of view on budget. My point of view on budget is every time we fall out of using the budget, my life falls out of place, and then I have to catch back up on my life. So if you get anything for this segment, get you a budget. Budget will save your life. and it will make you feel so much secure in your life. And yes, it turns out you can budget at any financial situation in your life. So I forgot my list for books and people I follow for this section, but it's really my gem. So I'm the one who deals with the budget first. So I will be putting in the show notes the some books you can read and people to follow for budgeting. But budgeting is life and it will keep you sane. And for people like Chris, you're just the side person. You're just told what the budget is and you go from there. But yes, even if you're a millionaire, you can't say you have $1 million in the bank and we're gonna spend $1 million. No, bro.
Concept.
I'm gonna give you a budget.
That's never the concept.
But if it was up to you, like,
No.
I think you could probably spend $1 billion in a day. You would forget Chris will buy a jet online, a yacht on online. Like, I'm always like, oh, how much to Chris is like, oh, it's very easy. Like
No.
a couple watches.
No, because when I want
Put
to,
some in the investment, like you would be done with that $1 billion.
you know what I want to spend? I want to spend on tools or some new machine, not on stuff that's just. I'm not going on no trips.
But what is an asset on that? If you're just gonna spend it, that's why you need a budget.
You need to go make more money, so then it's not a problem.
But no, even if you make more money, you have to budget that more money.
When I'm having a business, it's not like my income is fixed. I don't work on a salary.
I get that, but it's still the point of the story is always going to be capped at the budget. The budget is going to change, but there's always going to be a budget, and you hate the word budget, and you hate you have reached the top of your limits. Chris wants life to be a black Amex. It's unlimited. No, there's always, no matter how much money we're making, there's always going to be a limit. So apparently, most Americans don't use a formal budget. A 2021 study found from debt.com found that 65% of Americans don't follow a detailed budget. But those that at least track their spending in some informal way tend to feel more in control of their finances. That's why I said, at least even if you don't budget, but know where your money is going, and you feel so much better. And yes, you can budget even if you're making $12K a year.
You know, my budget goes to Cappy.
Yeah, because I'm out here buying Chanel purses and shit.
That's what I be saying, but you be tripping at me.
Yeah, but anyways, let's keep on track to provide value, not your foolishness. Simple tracking makes a big difference. Researchers from the University of Kansas revealed that people who write down even a few key expenses each month save 20% more than those who don't track at all. And a Vanguard report noted that focusing on your long-term financial goals rather than obsessing over daily expenses categories lead to better financial health over time. So, I'm not saying you have to be super crazy about the budget, but you should have some kind of budget. You should know where your money goes, and you should have like main categories split. Like you should know what percentage. If you don't want to go detailed into numbers, but there's some people who will tell you, and that used to be me, I don't know where all my money goes. So that's when you know you have a problem and you definitely need a budget. If you're like, oh, I had this paycheck and I don't have nothing to show for it. You have no savings, you have no investment, and you're like, I don't know where my money goes. And your bills are not even all paid. At least if your bills are not all paid, but you know where your money went, like you're already a step ahead. So you have to have some kind of like accountability.
Well, the problem is most people also probably live beyond their means. That's a different question.
Oh, Americans for sure. We all do.
Yeah, you spend 50% or more of your paycheck on rent, and it's like, yeah, you don't have anything left after that scenario. Living the good life.
Well, the next problem is too, but that would be a different story. We don't get paid living wage. We get paid. That hasn't gone up, but everything else has gone up. So that's a different story. So even more reason why you need to budget so you can keep yourself accountable and know where everything goes.
That's one thing I definitely don't really understand. And you said that before yourself too. Is like, especially when a salary. I think it's important. I think I have a different expectation of budgeting because we don't live in a salary fixed income type of scenario. So that's why I see things a bit different. Like if I knew we were making, let's say, $1,000 a month, then yeah, the budget is like, at that point, it's like, all right, I need to know exactly if I have $5 left, $100 left. But the fact that we have higher income potential is why I'm saying that if I want this particular thing, I see it as we have the means to try and go and get that particular thing because we can just go out and sell more of whatever product versus someone who's on a salary or fixed income. You don't have that luxury. Once you get into a certain hole, you need to have money split up aside for certain circumstances where anything happens, whether it's a medical emergency or the roof broke or whatever it is. You need to have the budget. But I feel that once we have, for people who are self-employed, they have more potential of fixing or getting easier towards a goal versus those who work for on a fixed salary. That's why I say it's more like it's annoying because I know I've worked hard to try and get this particular thing or to not feel so put into a box. But you want to put me in a box, but it's like, yo, I just did an awesome big job. And now you're like, no, forget about that. You didn't do good. You just got to struggle again. It's like, no.
Numbers don't lie, bro.
It's like,
I ran the number.
It's like, I just won. Let me take my win.
You did win. But it's going to somewhere more important than the stuff you don't need to buy. If it was something you needed, then that would be a different story. But if you don't need it, we don't have to keep making Amazon richer. That's all I got to say. So you should pay yourself first. And so I guess managing money, right? It's kind of like a Buffett approach, but I think it's an everyone approach. Pay yourself first, which is the same thing all my books and all my people say online. And by pay yourself first is no, you're not writing yourself a paycheck or anything. Pay yourself first is savings, investment. That's what pay yourself first is. So that if you have an emergency, you have an emergency fund. You're saving towards something, maybe a housing, something. That's pay yourself first. And then invest in your future for your retirement. Because guys, Social Security is most likely going away at some point, the way America be spending money. So investment, that's pay yourself first. After you're done paying yourself first, then you can pay everyone else. And honestly, they always tell you in those books and the people I follow, pay yourself first can look like $2 if you live. Some people like have very low income. So if $2 is what pay yourself first, that's okay. Because at the end of the year, that $2 per week or per paycheck might look like $100. It might not be big, but it's $100 you didn't have before. And if you invested into something that for yourself or your child, like 30 years from now, that $2 per week would be like maybe $100K or something. So it's better than nothing. So, and then as you make more money, because obviously you want to have, like a better job or like you get a promotion, then $2 can become $10 and then $10 can become 20. So they tell you the idea is to start with something. You want to practice putting that money away, even if it's something really small. So whatever your budget looks like, even if it's penny in a jar, like you want to get into the habit of saving and then putting money aside and investing. And investing can look like $5 a week too, guys. Like, I don't remember what, but we did an investing podcast, so you can check that too. And we did a side hustle podcast. So if you want to make some extra money, you can do that too, to be able to invest or save towards something. And then live below your means. Okay, I'm not gonna judge anyone because I live in America and we all live beyond our means most of the time or at a certain time in your life. I mean, living below your means is great in theory. But when you see the letter in that car, it's, the shiny object, and you're at a certain age in your life and you're like, fuck it.
Might die tomorrow, so it's like, let's
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Like, I'm not saying this is how you should do it, but I'm just saying I'm not going to judge anyone on that because living the American life, I think most of us, 3 out of 4 people, live beyond their means.
Yeah, but I think living beyond your means can happen. But as you said, though, if you're going to do that, I think it's important to budget and plan, because don't live way beyond your means and you have like negative $10,000 in debt. You know what I mean? Because it takes that one little bubble to pop, and then like, yeah, then you're fucked for real. You know, so at least if you have that little bit of a cushion you're building, whether it's $2, as you said, you know, at least that's a help towards that day, because when you're a fixed income, as I was saying earlier, you're just screwed. So I think the budgeting is something that's important for that, especially if you're living beyond your means. You might not have much to, you know, extra because you're already way extended, but you got to put something away. That scenario of being negative or not having any savings is not a good look, because especially the way economy is going, people losing their jobs, you know, living beyond your means is fun, but it's not fun when you lose your job and then it's like a month, 2 months, 3 months away and you have zero saved away for it. You know, so was all that stuff really worth it at that point to live that extra nice car, that nice house, whatever? But then, you know, you're screwed because you didn't do that. So that's why it's important to at least save something, you know, to let's not be that stupid that, you know, all the things happen in life, but let's at least pretend to make an effort. The universe could be like, you know, I was trying here, buddy, but you know, give me a little more help, you know? I was trying.
Yeah. So I'm not saying, again, that you should live beyond your means, but I'm just saying I don't judge if you do. But so you should live below your means, guys. At least that's the goal, is to live below your means, like something we should all work on. And then focus on big wins, no small cutbacks. So basically, you know how they tell you, oh, cut the latte today. So this is a little bit of Buffett and then manifestation. Like, don't cut all the joys out of your life. Like, if you really want that $5 latte, just have it. But make sure you have that $5 latte after you saved your $2 or whatever per week. You know what I mean? After you invested in yourself, you can do that and then enjoy it and be thankful for that moment. But don't spend your last on it, or don't try to go crazy, which is what I was saying. You don't have to necessarily penny pinch on a budget, but have a, like you shouldn't, everybody should knows what they're bringing in and what their expenses are. So you should know your expense. Your first number you should know is your expense. You're paying your you should have two big part in your expense. Your necessities, so your rent or mortgage, electricity, basically the must. The car payment, insurance, all those necessities, and then your extras. Unfortunately, food goes in extras, guys. So food, like the kids need new shoes for school. There's like maybe a school budget, a clothing budget. Like extras are still important, but so you should know your base, and then how much are you bringing in. So that gives you how much cushion you have. That and then your investment should be in your budget, and then anything extra, like a lot of the people I follow say also, you should have money to enjoy. Like you want to go out to eat. If you want to save for a vacation, that should be planned. Save for that. Like you also have to live life. So have that latte, but make sure you're also actively saving that $2 for. So it's basically a balance, I guess. Your budget should be a balance of responsible and enjoy life. A study by Morningstar found that people who automate their savings before paying bills or discretionary expenses consistently save more than over the long term. So, especially for people who have paychecks or salaries, work from someone, you get your paycheck, automatically this goes into my saving, even if it's $10. When I used to work for someone else, I had that automated. It used to be like, when I was very young, like $20, $25 used to go into my saving account automatically. You leave it and forget it. Research published in Financial Planning Review highlighted that individuals who maintain a modest lifestyle, even as their income rises, accumulate more wealth than those who increase spending at the same time as the pace of their earnings. Basically, because you have a promotion of more money doesn't mean you should like get a Ferrari tomorrow or something. Like, just put that money into savings, and once you really, really stay secure, then you should make that investment.
I mean, talk about Buffett. I was ready for that one.
Which one?
The Buffett house.
Oh, you can go ahead and read it.
No, you read it and I'll tell you why.
Oh, shit. Okay. Warren Buffett is a famous frugal, living in the same modest home since 1958. It's not about counting every dollar, but about ensuring the lifestyle leaves room for future growth.
Let me look up to see what his house looks like. They say he has a 5-bedroom house, right? Which is cool. Regular, it's an old house. He bought it in 1950 or something like that. $30,000. That's cool. But his house is 6,000 square feet. Do you know how big 6,000 square feet is? Exactly. Because most average houses are, let's say, about 2, maybe 3,000. So although he has this same house, it's a very big, nice house. There's 0 pictures. Inside could be all fancy.
I was going to say it's probably done renovation.
It could have been all renovated. So, but let's be realistic. Just because he's a millionaire, you don't have to have a big old mansion. He's an old person, first of all. So I'm sure he's probably living on the first floor. I'm probably not even taking stairs anymore. But
okay,
still,
but he wasn't always an old person.
But regardless, though, 6,000 square feet has always been a big ass house. Like, you don't need to have, 20 bedrooms and shit like that. Like, it's unnecessary. That's just lavish, like, fuck you money, realistically. Like, having 20 bedrooms, like, there's nothing wrong with having 6,000 square feet. That's a big ass regular house for a one person and a wife. I don't even know if he has really a bunch of kids or not, but 5 bedrooms is a good house. And I'm pretty sure at 6,000 square feet, he has probably garages, offices, studio room, whatever. So let's stop pretending that his little same old house from 50 years ago, 60 years ago is anything but. It's a luxury house. It's considered, honestly, probably a mansion. I don't know what number mansion starts at, but 6,000 square feet is pretty huge house.
You'll be holding that in, huh?
Yes. Because like, I've heard this story so many times about him and his same modest house, but like, it's a big ass house.
Well, you know what I think they probably mean? It's modest when you're looking at how Bezos is living with his 50-bedroom mansions and stuff. So yes, it's modest compared to the rest of his people on the same financial level as him.
But he also has other vacation homes and real estate invested. He just chooses to live in his regular house. Let's not be fooled like, just because he still has that, he prefers to live there because that's his Idaho home. I think it was Idaho? Ohio? Something like that. But yeah, it's just like people keep talking about this story because he's some cheapo or something. But yeah,
Nobody said it was a cheapo. He said he's frugal.
But he has other houses. I've looked it up.
That's called a real estate portfolio.
Yeah, but meaning he still has other houses.
That's an investment.
And yeah, it's an investment in that $30,000 house he has. But as I said, it's still not a crappy house. He just hasn't rebought. There's nothing wrong with that. He was fine with his big ass house from a long time ago.
Well, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That it was 6,000 square foot. I really thought it was some small house.
Yeah, it's not. So he didn't have a need to really buy a big old mansion. Like, it's a good house. And he could have, renovated, make it look nicer, whatever. But what's really a big house? It's just a bunch of rooms. So you could redecorate the rooms, remodernize it because it's old. Like, it's still, all houses are still a shell. Yes,
You should have mentioned something since I passed
when
it.
you skipped it.
According to the Federal Reserve, households with minimal consumer debt are better positioned to handle emergencies and invest in the future, creating financial stability, and doesn't rely on detailed budgeting. Well, obviously, like if I have less debt, but if you're living paycheck to paycheck, I think it's a little bit harder. But I think if you can budget, actually, there was a fun fact I heard about in my books and people I follow. Some of the, well, not richest people, but well off that you might not realize. A lot of teachers are even more well off than we might be or something because they budget better and they apparently do like all kind. They literally like live below their means. They're good at saving, and they might drive this crappy car, and you think that your neighbor is better. Their neighbor is better than them because they have like a Benz and they're driving this Toyota, but the neighbor has $0 in the bank and they have like 100K in savings because they drive the crappy car, but they're cash rich, while the person driving the nice car is cash poor. So another thing, never judge a book by its cover.
So why they keep saying teachers don't make shit or they don't make enough money or whatever it is?
I don't think they do, but I think they're more resourceful.
Got the impression that they're always struggling.
And I guess it depends on what teachers wear. Teachers are still underpaid, I believe that.
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that like it's always been a thing that teachers don't get paid enough. I don't know if they look at it as enough as in to survive or enough that based on what their value is, I guess.
But it's an example that keeps coming back in my books and stuff, which I think makes sense. Or maybe just because they're just more, what do you call that? Disciplined than us.
Maybe they also have to budget more because teachers don't get, a lot of them don't get paid for that summertime, that 2 months either. So they have to also plan more ahead because they have that gap in their salary, which kind of sucks as a teacher.
No, I was reading something about that or online. I think they get paid for the year for that time, but you don't get that paycheck, so you have to learn to manage it. So like it's included in your other paycheck, you just don't get it. So you have to learn to be disciplined to make sure to account for that month. Maybe that's where that discipline comes in too. They have to be so good at their budget that they can just learn to live below their means and budget better. Breaking free from the traditional budget rule, thinking percentage, not dollar amount. I think I kind of touched on that earlier. But yeah, you want to do maybe like 50% for your base, 20% for emergencies, 10% for investment, 10% for vacations, like whatever floats your boat, but just put a percentage aside, figure out what your budget is, and then think of percentage of your paycheck is going to go to what.
Yeah,
instead of like $10.
Yeah, but definitely I think part of the budgeting should be, as you said, the investing part, because especially the sooner you start, the more it grows and compounds over time versus just putting it in a mattress or it's just in savings. Even if because as you said, let's not wait until hopefully that Social Security still exists, 20 years from 30, 40, 50 years when you actually retire, which is not even that much anyways. If you think about it, is that amount even...
All people get like nothing.
Is that amount even going to be with inflation increasing enough over time? Because look at the value of all the houses. Is that ever going to cover you living anything in the next 20 years? Because, I mean, look at back 20 years back. I mean, the cost of houses then versus now is doubled.
No, way more.
Okay, but meaning like, is your Social Security amount going to double?
No.
You know what I mean?
So, is it even going to increase?
So how are you even going to live if you don't really, because there's one thing of savings, which not doing anything, versus investing. Investing hopefully at least makes some type of an interest over time, versus, just...
Especially long term.
Yeah, long term, so it's definitely important to try and whether it's the crypto or stocks or, I guess 401k or one of those things that...
have something for the future.
Yeah.
Besides the Social Security.
Yeah. And I would even say even outside of the 401ks, because those are all managed by companies and you never know what these people will be doing sometimes.
They might be shutting down. They might be a scam.
Shutting down, scam, risky investments. You never really know. So
you're not in charge of it.
Yeah, you're not in charge. You don't know what's happening on the back end. So, and I've heard some horror stories with those things sometimes. So always have a little extra something you do on the side. So don't depend on your retirement, the government. You never know where things are going to be. Who knows if you're even going to have a government in the next 20 years, 30 years, with the way things are going. Maybe robots Maybe robots
Really?
are running us. Who knows? You never know. It could be decisions made by robots and maybe it's just
AI
the
took
president.
over?
You never know. Maybe they said, you know what? All you need is one guy in charge and all the other people are just not needed anymore. Who knows?
Invest in knowledge over complexity. So instead of obsessing over monthly categories, focus on building your financial IQ, read investment book, basically educate yourself on how to make better financial decision. A lot of us make, not a lot of, everyone learn their financial lessons, lifestyle from their parents and what you've seen. So if your family had horrible money management, chances are you have picked up those habits. But you can change it, like you can do better and you can build wealth and be better for the next generation. So educate and then apply so that you can learn to make better financial decisions. Um, and if you save and invest 10% of your income and live on the remaining 90%, you steadily grow your wealth without leaving micromanagement. Basically, yeah, just invest at least a little bit, live a little, and then.
Oh, you know what? A next thing here too. If you do investments, not a savings, you have a smaller chance of dipping into it because you gotta sell it
That's
or
true.
it's more complicated. Which is saving is like, oh, I need some money, I gotta get this thing. You just quicker just to like, because you see it versus like if you do an investment in a 401k or a stock, it's more like it becomes more complicated.
And you have to wait to
You
get
have to
it.
wait. There's a penalty, whatever like that. You pay the taxes on it, whatever. But it's less of a easy grab when it's not in your savings or under your mattress or cash or
That's
however
true.
you do it.
Percentage-based guidelines simplify money management. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau reports that people using simple percentage guidelines like 50, 30, 20 find it easier to track their financial health. So yeah, basically make it simpler because if it gets too difficult, chances are you're not going to do it. Build wealth over time. A National Bureau of Economic Research study showed that individuals who constantly increase their financial literacy see significant gains in net worth and retirement preparedness. So the more you know, the better you'll be.
Who was the guy you were watching earlier today? That's why I want somebody should
Dave
watch.
Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, that would be on my list.
I know somebody Ramsey.
Yeah, I was watching. He's strict. I don't agree with everything he has, but he gives you a good base. And he actually has a free budgeting app that you can download. Investing early and regularly beats detailed budgeting. A Vanguard study found that early consistent investing leads to greater long-term return than meticulous monthly expense tracking. Yeah, so for the investment, earlier, better, and consistent is what you want to go with. So some practical step to start today: automate your saving and investments. Your paycheck hits, your bank account does that for free. Have it automatically a certain amount or certain percentage is better, go into your savings and investment account.
And I guess to add on that to automation, I guess, what was it? It was Acorn and I don't know, Acorn or something. Check our stock our investing podcast that we had. But I think it was Acorn automatically just take the chain so they can help you
The extra change, yeah.
just automatically just, help you on that goal also to kind of build that investment without doing anything.
That's true. Small. Also, track only the essentials. Instead of categorizing every expense, track a few things, and basically so you don't get overwhelmed, but at least you're doing something. So I guess it's like going back to the base. Know what your base is, your basic expense, what you're coming in. Like make it the easier the better. And then Dave Ramsey has that free apps. Like there's so many free resources out there that you can just use to just do it. But the idea is make sure you're doing it. And actually you can also have like a coffee date with yourself every week. Like you should know where your money is going. So every week, every Saturday, maybe you have like in the morning, you have your coffee and then you check your accounts, you put your expenses, you check where you're at, and it's your money date. And you can do that with your spouse too. You can have like a money date with your spouse. Some people talk about doing that. We don't do that. But some people do it and it works for them so that you know where you are financially. Are you guys hitting your goals? Are you guys overexpend so you don't have any surprises? And the third step would be, oh, that's what I just covered without even noticing. Periodically review and adjust. Yeah. So every few months check in on your saving rates, investment growth, and major expenses. So I guess that would be another date. Maybe you can have like monthly dates for like investment, everything as a bigger view. But yeah, you have to check in on it, know where your money, and then if something is not working, I'm always tweaking my budget out. Well, our budget.
See? See? Told you. Money has nothing to do with me.
To make sure, it does. You make some of it to make sure you know like it's working for you and for where you're at today. Because you may have like maybe you were saving for a house and you bought the house, so now maybe you could save for something else. So like always check and be adjusting. So they say automation increases saving success. That's people who automate. 40% of people who automate their savings are likely to make their financial goals. I believe that. And better yet, you should have your savings into a different bank. Because like Chris said, that's a help. If you don't see it, you won't tap into it so easily. So having your saving in a different bank is even better if you're not doing well, you should have the investment, but if you're saving for something when you need the cash, maybe it's an emergency savings or something, then having in another bank so you don't dip into it thinking you have, you know, I can just transfer it over unless it's, you know, like your landlord's about to kick you out of something, like something very important.
Oh, and see, you could even automate the investing, even if you don't put it into to buying. You could even send the $10 directly to like your investment account. Just like it becomes like a separate, you know, savings account technically. And then I guess you can spend it, you know, whenever you get a chance to invest or however, but it's still going to be separated. And I can guarantee you that getting it back is a lot more complicated than switching it, just returning it back.
They're gonna hold on to that for dear life.
They don't make that returning as simple as sending it over. So that'll help you not spending it too.
Minimal tracking reduces stress. That's another report finding. And regular reviews keeps you on track. That's another report finding, which makes sense. So basically, everyone should budget. Yes, even if you make 12K or less, or like a little bit per year, you should still have a budget. It's better to invest $2 a week than it is to invest nothing. You can start investing change in a coin thing, like, you know, like don't feel away. You just want to build the habit. Prioritize your first and your goals first. So a savings and investment, and then pay all your bills. Try to live below your means. You don't want too much debt. You don't want to pay that it's what now? 29.9% in credit card interest now. You don't want to have to pay all that. Track your accounts. Have like a budget date for like weekly for basics, and then monthly for like your investment account, your big saving goals.
Sounds expensive.
Dude, you can't just make coffee at the house. Add a toast if it makes you feel richer. And then Warren Buffett says, do not save what's left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. The mindset alone can transform your financial future. That was a cut right there. All right. So I hope you guys, if you're not saving yet, you will start saving. Now that we had a better talk about it, maybe Chris can get off my saving behind. And then, yeah, let's go into the taboo section of this podcast. Political and social. Death to America propaganda. From Middle East chant to American college campuses. Yeah, we have lost our mind. Where do we start? When was it that you started realizing there was an issue with all this craziness, this anti-America thing?
I don't know. I think it's been around, but I think it's been a bigger issue lately to me when they say with the whole Israel-Palestine thing. I think that is when I've noticed it probably the most. At least as far as it's been affecting us. Because, it's always been overseas a lot.
Yeah.
They've always kind of hated us, especially in the Arab countries. But I think it's been affecting us more because I don't know if it's because more of the people are coming over here or if it's just a connection with, I guess, the abuse is happening over there. And then, which we'll get into more, I guess, later in the discussion. But I think how it's reaching the college campuses and the kids and all the different groups that we have here that I think are exciting the people more on the topic than I guess the rights of the Palestinians and stuff like that and what's happening over there, who was right or wrong, whatever it is. It's sad all around because unfortunately people get hit in the drama of politics, situations because, they all just want to survive and be happy. There's unfortunately there's a lot of rough people who want war, gun shooting for their rights, which I guess some of them to a degree, but at the end of the day, they probably want to just make money and do their own thing because a lot of times they don't want solutions. They want the war to continue so they can have power.
And there's a lot of money in war for people to be made. Honestly, I don't know either when I started noticing, but I just know for a fact that it's become a problem.
But I guess we're going to touch on that again, but I guess it's done the whole burning of the flag stuff here related to this stuff is really where it was like, this shit is ridiculous. It's the burning the flag to me part where it became the biggest problem to me because, I mean, if you don't like America and it's such a bad place, like, just leave.
Why you're still here.
Why you're still here? Like, how can you hate the place? Maybe
And you're still here.
And you're still here. Maybe you hate the government or something. I guess that's fine. But it's the government goes outside of this situation. America is still America with that, regardless of whether it's Trump or Biden or whoever, Obama, whoever it is. It's still America. It's still people. And I guess it goes back to that same problem where it's like in Palestine, it's like, the Hamas people, they're doing their thing. And it's like, it's still nothing to do with everybody else. But yet, after that to be this big old destruction of power and burning things and hate and angriness, it's like, why do we have to be so angry? And, it's okay to express yourself, but, express yourself in your own way. Don't affect people. And burning the flag is a disrespect, in my opinion. That's the ultimate fuck you. And I don't even know why that's not a bigger crime, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you should you should get some kind of penalty. It's supposed to be illegal, but I feel like everything is a free for all now. Like nothing is illegal. Like we watched this thing. I don't know who it was that was at the campus, and they got rioted on. And then all the police did was follow the rioters as they're like destroying and all up in people's face and basically harming yourself. And the police don't do anything. Like,
yeah, I think it was the Tatum guy and what's that college dude? I don't remember. But they were having I guess he always does these panels at all the schools, and Antifa showed up and they basically came in, they took all their stuff, they destroyed the tents. I think they even hit a couple people and they mashed up all their paraphernalia they had. They were doing, I guess, debate. And I guess they weren't having it. They wanted to go and cause confusion. But it's like destruction of property. Like, where does the line get drawn? Especially with the police. It's like, I don't know. What's the point of even having police sometimes? It's like, what are they even there for if they not even help you or stop you?
yeah, they can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, it's always like, don't touch them because he might get sued or whatever it is. It's like, I don't know. It's like it seems like police just are there for show half the time, or, I don't know. The whole police debate is another discussion that's just so stupid. It's like either they're there to do a job or they're not.
So the Israel-Palestine is obviously a big issue. It's a problem, right? It shouldn't happen. Nobody should die. Like, no innocent people should die for the decisions of head of states. I agree, and I think we can all agree with that. But like you said, I don't think that burning flags on American soil or destroying American property is going to do anything for Israel or Palestine.
Peaceful protest, honey.
Like, no, it's really ridiculous. And now, Death to America is chanted in cities, schools, and rallies. But Palestinians and Americans. But like you said, if you're not happy as a Palestinian here, you can feel free to go back and be happy there. Like, to me, you can't disrespect basically the hands that feed you.
I think the problem is it's not even the Palestinian people anymore. I think it's a very mixed thing that all the, I don't know if it's necessarily even young people, but they've created this little cult thing where it's just like they just want to go around and destroy things and be angry. Because I think the young people these days are certain, whether you want to say left or right, it's just like they just get very into these heated things and they just want to vent. Maybe this is the way of venting, and
They're really special.
you know, I don't want to make it into something political, but it seems like it's really always like these left-leaning organizations that keep pushing it, whether it's planned, not planned, and somebody just keep nudging them into like this certain direction for whatever political reasons.
Like Soros?
Yeah, Soros, yeah. You know, because if you look at all of the back end, it seems like they organize these events and they pay them and they fund it, they print up all the paraphernalia, and you see it and you just want to just be a part of the group, but you something to do and you jump in, no, yeah, let's go, guys. And it just ends up being a whole like, you know, big mess, and it's not good for the country or the people.
And then half of the time, when you see people doing interviews and stopping those students, and then you ask them why they're protesting, or like what part of the Palestine-Israeli thing makes them upset? Oh, you're upsetting me. I don't have to answer you. Oh my God, just go away. Why are you doing this? And then they start like hyperventilating, and then they have veins popping because they don't have any answer. They don't even know what's happening. They're just jumping on a wagon. They're getting agitated with no facts, no information.
If you ask them even where's Palestine, they'd be like, oh, it's somewhere in Africa or something, or China or whatever. Like they don't even know anything, but they are so upset about it and obsessed like, oh yeah, the people there, or
and America's bad.
Or even let's say the gay and trans people all into it too, and it's like, you know, they don't want to even accept y'all over there, right? But yet y'all all gung ho and fighting for them and whatever. But they would kill your ass over there. It's like that's the ones that is the dumbest one ever. You're all into this whole cause, but they don't even friggin' like you.
That is very true.
You know, that's the one that makes the least sense. Why are you fighting for a cause when they would just murder you?
Try to go into an Arab country talking about you're fluid.
They'll just murder you over there, stone you to death, like fact. It's not even like we're making a joke of being rude. Like it's literally a thing. They don't give a shit about your little issues you have, or whatever.
Nope. But you know, I think it's just common sense has just gone out of the door, like out of the way. So I think there's nothing wrong with you bringing light to the issues. Like I have friends, I see people who post, who make their points, you know, they share their views, what they like and dislike. That's fine. That's your right. That's your free speech. But they're not out in the street destroying things, trying to make their points or like hurting people physically. So yeah, I'm not saying that you can't stand for what you believe, but you don't need to be out there like burning flags, burning books, cursing people, hitting people, breaking down, you know, cars, doing nonsense in schools and in streets for no reason. Your little tantrum isn't really doing anything, in case you haven't realized. Because these people have been in that war for no, like this actual one for 23 for 2 years now, and we still don't have a ceasefire. It still hasn't gone anywhere. Um, So I think it's been found that a lot of this has been pushed. It's a pushed agenda. Not the war itself, but pushing the anti-America thing here. It's paid for. A lot of people are just like being brainwashed. I don't know if Russia, China, and stuff, are involved. I mean, I'm not a journalist out there researching this thing, but it could be possible. But the point is that all those countries that hate us are all pushing the young generation here into this death to America. America is bad, and we're doing bad things to other countries. Are we? Hell yeah. America puts their, I think we get involved in too many things that do not belong to us. But I guess that's what makes them their superpower. They just want to control everyone, right? But it's also where you live. It's also where you have your freedom. Because let's be realistic. You're more free here than you would be in another country, So people are like here whining. Your little tantrum you're pushing here, you couldn't do that in that other country that you're trying to save. So do not talk to me about freedom. And then you should respect the flag. It's the country you're in. And especially if you're getting benefits, a lot of people are we all know you're getting benefits. And you can't be doing all this while you're getting stuff from the country and then just go. If America is so bad, go somewhere better. Like, there is nobody jumping on the boats, little makeshift boats, trying to go to the Philippines. They're all trying to come here. But you're here and you're whining, and the people who just got here are just like trying to make things happen while you're whining with your first world problems about things, because your life is so goddamn easy is the problem, and it's so goddamn easy because you're in America. If you're not happy, you can feel free to go somewhere that's better. Please share with me where you're going.
Ain't going nowhere.
No. So stop whining like a little biatch already.
Supposedly leaving because Trump came in, but most of them still here.
We're still waiting for them to go. Don't let the door hit you. Yeah, so to me, it's like, is there a problem in those countries? Yes, there is. But it doesn't mean you have to destroy this country to try to prove your point for another country. And at the end of the day, yes, because I guess Israel and stuff are our allies, obviously we have a voice and we can help, but it's not 100% our fight. Yeah. We're just like a side piece in this scenario. And honestly, I don't know if Palestine and Jewish people can ever see eye to eye. Like, it's been, like you said, it's been going on for hundreds of years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been going on too long. It was first really Palestine, then Israel took it over at some point, and they wanted it back. Actually, no, was it Israel first, and then Palestine took it over, and then they took it back, I think. Can't remember the story. But
it was a long, long, long time ago.
Yeah, I think it was Israel
first. Then
it's
been Palestine.
Yeah, and then they took it back.
It's been Palestine for a long time.
And the US helped them take it back, I think it was.
No, I think the closest timeline is, which is the video I had sent you, the documentary, after in 1947 or 48, after World War II, which I never knew. I only learned that recently. Because I'm obsessed with World War II, but I never realized what happens after World War II. So after World War II, they didn't know what to do. The UN didn't know what to do with all these Jewish people. Like, where are we going to put them? We have to put them. So this is decided to send them to Palestine. And they were going to create this little zone for them, which is what they have now. But apparently, that didn't work. They were sent back. They didn't want them over there. And then I guess they worked things out, and then they were sent. Actually, they stayed over there in like boats and stuff. They stayed in like little camps and stuff. And they were trying to send them back, but then, governments had to work things out. Then they got to stay over there. And then that's when it started. But after that, they had like conflicts. I think they had some 6 day crazy war that they had. They have a name for it. And yeah, it's been a bunch of conflicts since then. But I guess it used to be Jews' land back in the days. But then it was Palestine for a long time. And then I guess they wanted to reclaim the land. And then they got put there after World War II because nobody knew what to do with them. No, um, Europe didn't know what to do with them.
The thing I find weird about that situation scenario too is like, although I guess Israel is Israel's home, but you know they're all surrounded by people who hate them.
Yeah, that's super weird.
So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to leave your home. Your home is your home, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like you're not in a very safe place either, which I guess why they have that whole iron dome thing to, I guess, protect their people and stuff like that. But it's like you're surrounded by everybody who hates you.
It's their land.
Yeah.
But that's a
Which is why
forever conflict.
Which is why I said, yeah, like that's never really gonna end because you're in like a very bad spot.
Like if you hear Palestinians talk about Jews, it's really sad. Like they don't have anything nice. Like, and they teach their children there's so much anger. That cycle is never gonna stop.
Yeah. Think about it, they probably all know somebody who has been killed, murdered from either the war at some point in time by a Jew or whatever it is, this whole war thing, you know, so it's just like, how could you not be upset with these people?
Yeah, but you have to end the cycle, otherwise it's never gonna end.
No, you end it when, I guess you get
When
resolution.
When there's none of y'all left?
I guess so. That's how people are, though. The hardest thing to get rid of is anger.
Yeah, but if you don't let it go, then it's never gonna end. Your children are never gonna have a better future.
Who's gonna teach me to let it go? When all I'm seeing is destruction and family members dying and the place looks like shit because they got bombed or whatever. How you gonna let that go? That's why they keep saying death to America, because we keep, helping this thing keep going. That's why these countries hate us. A lot of them still want to come over here though, but that's a different story. They'll jump to take opportunity to come here, but
I don't know. But obviously a ceasefire would be the best way to end this. But is this
it'll happen temporarily, I'm sure. But I'm
is this
pretty
really
sure it's
gonna
gonna be back
happen
again.
at some point?
Next group is gonna come about, whether it's you take out the Hamas, be another one coming about. There's always these little groups that keeps coming. Whatever the name is gonna be next. Somebody else angry. The next generation of Hamas kids is gonna be angry again. The cycle.
So I don't know what you think, but that's the point. If basically we're gonna be so involved into their dilemmas, then we might as well start teaching their dilemmas into schools so that people can be properly educated instead of just like going on of emotions because Twitter told you to.
Teaching where and teaching who?
I guess hear about the whole Palestinian and Israel issue, I guess in history classes maybe? In schools.
Would it really teach them and really matter? Whether they knew who's what?
Yeah, so you can be educated instead of just going off stupid memes.
Doesn't matter. All it takes is one stupid person to make another person stupid and angry about something.
Then if that was your point, then we never, where do we even send kids to school, period? T.
Saying this example, and the way think people are. People just want an excuse to be angry.
I guess. Maybe we should just go with a big stage over the world then.
Yes, people just want to be angry so often. As I keep telling you, like, it don't make a difference because it'll be another distraction of angerness about something. It's just like, it's always from one cause to another one where we have to distract them. Whether it's these people, it's going to be somewhere in Africa or somewhere, next group, some next country that's fighting. There's always going to be forever wars. There's always going to be some reason to be angry. Whether it's Israel with, I don't know, Iran or something that's going to pop up next.
I don't know, but something's got to give. Look, extremist groups exploit foreign conflicts like Gaza to radicalize U.S. citizens with anti-American ideology. So basically, it's all propaganda to just like grow the entire America. It just benefits them. So, like, yeah, extremist groups, and I hate America, or just using any conflict to just keep pushing those rhetorics and hype up our students and our kids into this foolishness. Washington Institute in 2023, the Israel-Hamas war became one of the top triggers for anti-American sentiment worldwide, including with diaspora communities. So basically, yeah, you're right. So I guess 2023, when the whole thing is really when the anti-America was more pushed to American, and when we started seeing it more. So I guess you're right on that one. And it went with the burning flags and stuff. Many American citizens and college-educated U.S.-born are burning flags and praising Hamas fighters as freedom warriors. That's crazy. Protest funded or organized by U.S. groups that receive foreign NGO money, blurring the lines between civil activism and proxy warfare. So basically, those NGOs are funding those protests, but then it's making it very one-sided on where you're putting your money and who you're pushing.
What comes back again to is they become, I guess, you pick a side. You're either pro-Israel or anti-Israel. That's what it is. So they see it as they're just fighting for their home, which realistically to some degree they are, but it's a fight, as you said, it's not necessarily our fight, and it's a fight that I guess you have to, there's never going to be a easy way. I think they just need to move on, and Israel is Israel. They
Palestine
have
is Palestine.
It's Palestine at this point, but, whatever's left, the people there just, I don't know how. But I think I was reading earlier that I think they called it the Gaza because Palestine is actually two parts. There's the Gaza and then there's some West Bank. And it's really just the Gaza part is really where the war is. So technically, I guess the Palestine over there, the West Bank, is not really at war because they're running things a bit different separately, or I don't know, they're separating that. So I guess that war is not really happening there. So it's really just in Gaza, which is what they call it more the Gaza war, because it's really in that part of Palestine. So I think they just, all the Hamas people are.
That's because I was gonna say that's because that's where Hamas is, and that's who attacked.
Yeah.
So apparently, the issues with American students is the trust in institutions collapse when Americans believe their government support genocide. That was one issue. Younger American raised on filtered narrative, on little clips on social media, pointing out propaganda the way you want it. Narratives of colonialism now sees Americas as the oppressor, not the liberator. So basically, that's the point of view that's been pushed. We're the oppressor and we're supporting genocide. Patriotism is smeared, shared identity is gone, and foreign enemies don't have to destroy us. We're destroying ourselves basically from within. This is genius. And remember, I had watched this, it's a Bible prophecy movie I need to watch again. Every few years, I gotta watch it to remember. The prophecy was that America will destroy itself from within, and I truly believe it started under Biden administration, and it's just gonna keep going. It's just been horrible, and this is not helping. So yeah, we're doing a great job at destroying ourselves from within, and people need to wake up because they keep whining about America being a shit show. Don't worry, we're just gonna become another country with no freedom, like the ones they're trying to support.
Freedom, all those people coming from all these other places where they have all these rules, like we watch with, I guess, more of they want to bring Sharia law and stuff like that to America. I think it's in like New Jersey and stuff like that, which is fine. I believe in people should have their religion, the Muslims, whoever, but bringing in those particular set of rules and stuff like that. It creates a whole different society. And then,
No, that's a you problem. That's not a us problem.
you know, like your freedom should not encroach on my freedoms is really what it is. Like, you know, religion is religion. That's a personal thing. But then when it starts creating, you know, separate little boundaries and how everybody else handles their life in that area, you know, everything, you know, it just creates.
Yeah, what you practice at home
Yeah.
or in your own time, I respect that, and I'll
Yeah.
respect, but don't push it on me. And that shouldn't be like a community thing. Research from 2022, America trust in media, Congress, and higher education hit historical lows. And another study, 40% of college students surveyed believe America is inherently oppressive. And a Harvard Kennedy School, foreign-backed disinformation campaigns, hidden ideological polarization follows the 2023 Gaza war. So basically, other countries and propagandas are just pushing that we're just colonized and we're horrible. Yes, America has all its flaws, but it is still a great country to be in. And if you're still here, that means you believe it. Otherwise, you can feel free to go. But stop burning the flags. It's totally disrespectful for the country that you're in and that's giving you what you have. And if you're really here and oppressed, you wouldn't be able to burn those flags or yell in the streets or break cars or put your hands in your butt and then put it on a Tesla. If you're really oppressed, you really wouldn't be able to do none of that. Like, honestly, in Arab countries, they would have just shot you on the spot in the street and you can go complain to no one because it's the army shooting you.
Yeah. And stuff in Dubai, like you will, you know why there's no crime? Because they don't let shit happen. Like
you go missing.
You go missing.
You're either going to jail or you're just going to go missing. China, you're going to a rehab camp and that most likely means they're going to kill you.
They're oppressed over here, honey.
But you want to talk about you're oppressed in America? Seriously? All the foolishness, then the police can't even touch people at this point talking about you're oppressed. If anything, you have too much freedom. Some of y'all need to get like some freedom taken back. It's ridiculous.
Oh.
First world problem is what I call it. So you can, the message of this is you can stand for peace in Palestine and for Israel without wishing for America to collapse, people. Like you can do both. Like I said, you can have like a clean way of protesting and putting out your opinions. Death to America is becoming a problem here. And it's becoming a problem from Americans. People are getting brainwashed, honestly. And this day, it doesn't take much to brainwash anyone, apparently. It's very sad. I call it empty shells, people walking around.
Bases.
Yes. Domestic ignorance is letting it stay. Yep, ignorant people. And the goal isn't just to divide us over Israel or Gaza, it's to destroy America's shared identity from the inside out. And you guys are doing a great job at letting it happen. Like, the enemy doesn't even need to do much. Like, you guys are just doing a great job at just bringing it down for them. And then you won't have anything. So it's not greener on the other side of the fence, guys. So here is the one-liner, like the last segment. If you can march freely, protest openly, and speak your mind in this country and still chant death to America, you are not oppressed. You're either confused or you've been programmed. Boom. You ain't oppressed, people. You got first world problems. If you're not happy, you can feel free to go somewhere better. But we will be staying here because America is great. It's not perfect, but it is great country to be in. And it is the country you're in, and you still choose to stay here. So just respect the flag, respect the country, then you can still voice your way, maybe like start a podcast like this and talk like a normal person, and you can tell your opinions on your podcast without, hurting people or people's properties, like civilized people. Like we're not chimpanzees.
We're not fun.
Yeah. So I guess this is it for today, babe.
That's it.
It's been real, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget that we will have on the website show notes where we have all like background research. If we have like books or people to follow, we recommend that goes into the show notes. So they're under the episodes, easy to download. You just hit it and download it. We are available on all podcast channels, Spotify, Amazon Podcast, all the stuff. On YouTube, subscribe and follow us, please, if you like what you hear. And we have a new show every Wednesday, every week. And this is it for episode 5. Anything you want to let us go with?
No, just like, share it to your friends, whether it's the full episodes. We put out many clips of different topics. Share it to your stories, share it to your timeline, whatever. Help us get the word out on what we're trying to do here, and that's it.
We hope you enjoyed this. And this was Chris and Cappy with Bun and Bill.
Yeah.